Ever take something that's not yours? Barry has, but he's not very good at it. Today's ill-fated poetic epic is about Barry the burglar, a second-rate thief with first-class failures. And his story goes like this. Young Barry, a fry cook of little renown. At Wendy's he labored, weighed constantly down. He wasn't much focused on grilling the meat. His thoughts drifted off, a wandering fleet. He'd stare at the ceiling or out at the cars, ignoring the sizzle, ignoring the scars. The burn marks on patties, a charcoal surprise, while customers waited with hungry, sad eyes. 13 times now, the alarm bells had pealed as burgers turned black and a smoky scent revealed. His manager fumed with a face turning red. Barry, you're fired. Your career here is dead. You burn my burgers, you daydream all day. You're out of chances now. Go on your way. So Barry was sacked. With a shrug and a grin, though losing his job felt like a terrible sin. But then a new thought, a mischievous gleam, began to take shape in his fanciful dream. If work didn't pay, and rewards were so few, perhaps a new venture was long overdue. A life slightly bent, a pursuit of quick riches, a life misspent. He'd heard tales of villains with pockets so deep who made easy money while good people sleep. He'd always been nimble and quick on his feet. Maybe a life of crime wouldn't be such defeat. Revenge on the Wendy's. The mischievous plan to plunder their profits as best as he can. He'd show them he wasn't just burger flipping trash. He'd take back what's owed with a daring dash. He started to plot with a mischievous air, a scheme to relieve them of profits to share. His target was set. His resolve was quite strong, to right the wrong done to him all along. He researched the methods, the how and the why of breaking and entering beneath the dark sky. He watched countless videos, a curious spree on TikTok and YouTube for all folks to see. Lock-picking tutorials, alarms he'd bypass, a master of mayhem with criminal class. He practiced with paper clips, bobby pins too, determined to learn what a burglar must do. He envisioned the riches, the freedom, the fun, a life of extravagance, second to none. He pictured himself lounging on beaches so white with cocktails and sunshine, a glorious sight. But first, he needed practice. This was his test, to hone his new skills and be truly the best. He targeted the Wendy's, his former employ, to prove to them all he was no simple boy. He waited till closing, the lights dimmed and low, a shadow concealed as the employees go. He lurked in the bushes, a nervous young man, with a backpack and toolkit, part of his plan. The door was his challenge, the lock was his foe. He took a deep breath and prepared for the show. He inserted a pick with the delicate hands, but the mechanism wouldn't seem to understand. He twisted and turned with increasing strain, but the lock held firm, causing him pain. An hour went by, then another one too. His fingers were aching, his face turning blue. He'd watched all the videos, he'd studied the art. The lockpicking proved harder than right from the start. Exhausted and frustrated, he let out a sigh. This TikTok advice was a terrible lie. He tried a new tactic, a forceful attack, with a hefty brick borrowed right off the track. He swung with all his might, a determined young chap. But the glass barely rattled, just gave a small clap. He swung once again with a grunt and a groan, but the window remained stubbornly known. Then, with one final heave and a desperate plea, he struck the glass hard and activated a key. Not a key to the door, but an alarm's piercing shriek, which shattered the silence, so sudden and bleak. A red light began flashing, a warning so clear. The police are alerted, danger is near. Poor Barry was startled, his heart filled with fright. He hadn't expected such a terrible plight. He froze for a moment, then turned on his heel. A swift, panic sprint, his escape to reveal. He bolted and dashed, with incredible speed, ignoring the consequences, ignoring the need to think or to reason, just get far away from flashing red lights and the end of his day. From Wendy's door, a hurried flight. Young Barry ran with all his might. The alarm wailed, a comical screech, as Barry bolted well out of reach. He didn't pause, he didn't slow, just ran and ran, putting on a show. A chain link fence, a shadowed view, a building rising, stark and new, a construction site, a hopeful gleam, a chance to chase a different dream. No walls were built, just steel and frame, a tempting target, a risky game, expensive tools, a worker's prize, reflecting wealth before his eyes. He hopped the fence with nimble grace, or tripped a little, face first in the place. A hard hat perched before his eyes, a vest he grabbed, a bright, bold hue to blend with workers, see the job through. Should anyone inquire, he'd simply say, "Just doing my job at the close of day." He walked among the beams and rods, ignoring all the safety codes, up the stairs, a steady climb, to reach the 10th floor, losing track of time. A treasure trove, a wondrous sight, construction gear bathed in pale moonlight, drills and saws and levels true, a contractor's dream, both old and new. He started loading, crate by crate, ignoring caution, tempting fate. A small elevator, box-like and worn, for lifting materials safely borne. He piled it high, a heavy load, with power tools, a bulging code. He didn't count, he didn't weigh, just crammed it all in. Come what may, he pressed the button. Down he'd glide, a wealthy burglar, filled with pride. But then a groan, a shuddering sound. The elevator dropped and spun around. 10 floors it plunged, a dizzying spree, with Barry screaming, "Woe is me!" He woke in white, a blurry haze, with aches and pains in a dizzying maze. 2 broken legs, a shattered wrist, a fractured skull, and cracked spinal discs. Cuts and scrapes all over his hide, in handcuffs tight on either side. Officer O'Malley, stout and bold, a story ready to be told, approached the hospital bed with a knowing grin. "Well, Barry," he said, "where do we begin?" Barry pleaded, with a whimper and plea, "Hey, officer, I'm a worker, you see. I'm innocent, so please set me free." O'Malley laughed, a booming sound. "Son, we know you've been around. You wore a construction vest, that might be true, but underneath, your Wendy's uniform in clear view. We know you worked there. We know you got fired. Once you've healed up, jail time's required. You tried to pick the lock, then you got violent. So you're under arrest. You have the right to remain silent." He slumped, defeated, head in his hand. His grand heist plan turned to shifting sand. He thought of Wendy's, the burgers, the fries, the reason for this unfortunate guy's. Revenge was sweet, he'd fought with glee, but now it tasted like misery. A construction worker? A burglar so grand? Used as Barry, with a plan gone unplanned. And so Barry sat in his hospital bed wishing, rather than crime, he turned to honest work instead. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, you can support the channel by liking, subscribing, picking up some Poetic Epics merch, or leaving a donation. Links are on screen and in the description. Thank you again. I'll see you next time.